Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar with Modern Requirements. We're going to give everyone a few more minutes to join, and then we'll get started right on the hour. Thank you for your patience. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on Modern Requirements for DevOps, Next Gen AI and Beyond. My name is Darshini, and I'll be taking you quickly through a few housekeeping items before we begin. Before we start, just a couple of reminders. We'll be sending the recording of this webinar to your inbox by the end of the week. It will also be available on our website in the next few days. We have allocated some time at the end of the presentations for Q&A, but also feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A window at any time. Please avoid asking questions in the chat. We will address your questions as best as we can at the end of the webinar. If we run out of time and we couldn't get to your question, or additional questions might come up after the event, you can always send us an email at info@modernrequirements.com. We will get you the answers as soon as possible. There is also going to be a survey that will pop up at the end of the webinar. Please take a few seconds of your time to provide your valuable feedback so that we can keep improving on these webinars to suit your needs. And in case you're new to our webinars and to Modern Requirements, we offer a 30-day free trial of Modern Requirements at no cost or obligation. I'll drop the link in the chat shortly for you. This is a great way to try the tool out and see if it's the right fit for your team. Throughout this webinar, you'll get a better sense of some of the amazing features and capabilities of Modern Requirements for DevOps. So if you're interested, please visit the link to get started. Before I pass you over to Shehan to begin, I'm going to pull up a couple of poll questions. These will appear on your screen momentarily. The first of which is, which feature are you most excited to learn about today? Okay, let's see what the answers are. Oh, a lot of you are excited to learn about everything today. And okay, we'll be moving on. Thank you for participating. I will pass you over to Shehan, our first presenter.
Hi everyone, my name is Shehan. I am the Vice President of Sales here at Modern Requirements. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining today. We're very excited about our next release. And we hope that by the end of this webinar that you'll be just as excited as we are. We here at Modern Requirements believe in taking our client feedback and turning it into reality. Today is another example of us doing just that. Which brings us to our focus of today, our next version, which includes a few game changers. First up, we have a new user interface. It's simpler to navigate and it further aligns the look and feel of Azure DevOps. We're launching Copilot4DevOps, our AI assistant that allows BAs to harness the power of AI to improve the quality and accuracy of your requirements and have fun doing it. We are launching our version and variant beta, which originally was a suggestion from one of our clients as a feature that will be very useful and will help manage requirements for complex engineering projects. Taking on such complexity does come with its challenges, but we've never shied away from such challenges and we are continuously improving this offering. Lastly, we have enhanced our test reporting, which now includes in-depth trace analysis. To understand modern requirements is to understand our close relationship with Microsoft. We've been a strategic and trusted partner for over 12 years. In fact, we are the only natively built requirements management tool for Azure DevOps, and that relationship extends to us being featured as a part of Microsoft's Copilot ecosystem with Copilot4DevOps. By working closely with Microsoft, we are always in alignment, adapting and growing with them, which means our clients take advantage of the scalability and security of Azure while benefiting from the streamlined deployment and management. To further demonstrate our relationship with Microsoft, Nicole Dezen, Chief Partner Officer and Corporate VP of Global Partner Solutions at Microsoft, recognized us as a key AI transformation partner at Microsoft's Inspire 2023. As a requirement management solution, our clients have spoken through Infotech software reviews, which has ranked us as #1 in both the Data Quadrant report and the Emotional Footprint report in 2023. In fact, we've been ranked top-ranked solution, requirements management solution over the last 3 years. What does that really mean? It means that our features and functionality are the best in class when it comes to requirements management, but also our customer service through our support team is also considered best in class. For folks who are new to modern requirements, here's a broad overview of how we improve the Azure DevOps experience. At the top, you see all of the capabilities that Azure DevOps offers, and at the bottom are all the capabilities that Modern Requires offers. To start off, authoring and reporting. Many of you who have used or seen Modern Requirements in the past would know the simplicity and the organization of using Smart Docs and Smart Report. Today, we're going to be diving into version and variant management beta. Project auditability. So a requirements management solution must have review management, trace analysis, baseline, and 360 impact assessment. With these abilities, we improve our offering. Visualizations in terms of diagramming, simulation, and use case. And most importantly, efficiency optimizers. Today, we'll be focusing in on Copilot4DevOps, and we'll be seeing that as a detailed demonstration that Asif will be showing you. Lastly, some of the other services that we provide. Copilot4DevOps will revolutionize the requirements management space with 9 new capabilities. These capabilities will save you time, provide you better accuracy and quality, and most of all, make it fun. Version and variant management in requirements engineering is essential for handling diverse product versions efficiently. Products both in software and hardware domains can have numerous configurations and options. Managing these variants ensures that the requirements for each version are clearly defined, helping engineers and stakeholders understand and address the complexity. Traceability is critical for ensuring that each requirement is met and properly tested. With variant management, traceability is maintained for each version, aiding in quality assurance and compliance efforts. When requirements change, managing these changes across multiple variants can be challenging. Effective variant management systems facilitate tracking and communicating changes to the relevant stakeholders. Variants that have shared common requirements can lead to errors if changes are not properly managed. Effective variant management minimizes the risk of introducing errors due to miscommunication or misunderstanding. Variant management allows for optimized resource allocation. Shared requirements across variants reduced the need to develop, validate, and test the same feature multiple times. With all that being said, now I'd like to turn it over to Asif to walk us through what our new UI will look like, how Copilot will work, what version and variant management looks like, as well as our enhanced test reporting. Asif, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Shian. Give me 1 second, and I will share my screen. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining. Now, some of you may know I'm an amateur poet. And this morning, while I was taking a shower, a poem came to me. So I'd like to share with you before I get into the demo. So it goes like this. I met Rumi last night. He and I were drunk. He said to me, "You should kill yourself often, for what you seek is hidden behind you as the veil. You are already the Tao. Let the being be. It is sufficient and complete." With that inspiration, let's get into what changes we have done. In the new release, we've got a new user interface, and there are a few things that we're doing in the new interface. And what it does is, one of the things we've done is implemented Smart View. So some of you might know, in the previous version, we had something called compare pop-up, and you could compare different versions of work item. We've got a much better implementation of that now. You'll love it. The other thing we've done is we've changed the general browse capability of different artifacts like smart docs or trace matrices or baselines and so on. So we've changed we've got the new browse page. We got a better search capability there. And I'll show you what that means. And we have now separated. Previously, we had use case and simulation under a single hub. We have separated the hubs down. We've got updated breadcrumbs and toolbars within each module. And we've got a new UI for test reporting, much more easier to use, very user-friendly. And we've improved the performance on test hub reporting. So let's take a look at what that is before we get to the next piece. So the first thing I talked about was what we have here is the new browse page. So now when you go to Smart Docs, you will go to a page that looks like this. Instead of seeing the list of smart docs or reviews or trace or baseline or diagrams, all of these things have this view now. You will actually come to this browse page. It's a dedicated browse page. You can simply go up here and search for whatever you're looking for much more efficiently. You can organize your folders, and then you have got the context menu there. You can also create new smart docs directly from here. And when you create a new smart doc, the templates now show up in drop down as opposed to that big box we used to have. So now you can also sort of search in line for the template you're looking for. So much cleaner experience. The other thing you'll see from a smart doc point of view is that your word import is here. So it used to be on the left panel, if you remember from before, but now it's directly on the browse page. Update all templates, again, everything that was on the left panel is now within the browse page. The other thing we did, that the smart doc templates you want to create is also been added to the browse page. And now you can go ahead and you can click through and manage your templates from there. Okay. So smart doc templates is there. Now, when you go into a document, into a smart doc, you will see that our toolbar has been optimized. So now you will see the key items here, and the rest are hidden under the ... because they're not used as often generally. Okay. The right panel can be accessed through this icon. So if you search this, then your right panel opens up, and you can always close it, but that's how you access it. Okay. The document view on or off is still in the same place as before, and Discover is still in the same place as before. Compare view is now right next to the document. And then when you want to compare it to a given version, then you basically go there and then you can select it. So you would select what you want to compare with from here. And you see the redlined content, and then you can save it to Word or PDF as you like. Okay. So you'll find this UI is much more user-friendly. You have more space to work in, and that's the other thing. Okay. So that's the browse page bit. Oh yeah, there's also the sign out button. So if you go to the browse page here, this is the sign out button. So if you're using floating licenses and you need to release your license, and you can just click on sign out here. So that's on the browse pages as well. All right. So I talked about the use case and simulation are separate now. So if you go down here, you'll say simulation and use case. There are two different hubs, as opposed to previously it was one. And so now, and of course, when you go into either one of them, you'll just see that particular type of artifact, and you can manage them just like this. We talked about updated breadcrumbs. So when you go into a document, you will see that here you can actually change your document. You actually don't have to go back to the browse page even. You can just switch documents from here. And of course, this browse page allows you to navigate. So that's your updated breadcrumbs thing. And what else? Test reporting. Oh yeah, this is the new one. So previously, if you remember, if you use the test report hub, what that did was you would have to configure all of the work items individually and select all their fields, and it would take 20 minutes to do it if you knew how to do it, and you would probably refer to the tech note how to do it. So we have streamlined this. So now under the horizontal matrix, so now you'll see even this toolbar has been optimized. So you basically go to horizontal matrix, you have different options here. We've added a fourth one, which is purpose-built for test reporting. So now what you do is you select a plan, whichever plan you want to report on. You can choose multiple suites if you have multiple suites, or just choose one. And then you can go ahead and choose the appropriate ones that you want. If there's something you don't want, you can remove it. If you save it and it doesn't like what you have done, then it'll tell you that you need to have it selected. When you go here, it will then generate the document and render the result of that particular test case in the trace matrix. So here you have it. You can see the bugs column is gone. Okay, so that's the new UI for test reporting. Okay. So much simpler to work with. What is the other one? Oh yeah, I don't think I showed you the Smart View. Smart View is awesome. Let me show you. So what does Smart View do? So let's say we are on a work item, and we are making changes to the work item over time. I want to see how it looked like at a point in time. So then what I do is I basically go to Smart View. Smart View will bring up a window that is a close approximation to, it's a close approximation to the Azure DevOps window, the work item detail window. Okay. At any point, you can choose a version that you're interested in. It'll show you what things look like in that version, like so. And you can see my sprint iteration path changed and whatever content changed. But of course, what you want to be able to also do is to compare it to any other version. And when you compare it, it'll redline it for you, and you can see exactly what changed. So one of the challenges you had in Azure DevOps, you could not go back in time. You had to look at the history. But you know, history is hard to read, especially when you want to tell what changed in the description, right? Or cumulatively what changed in other properties. It's very hard to tell. Now it has become, I mean, with our compare, we had already solved it. Now it's become much more elegant. Okay, and you can always roll back also if needed. So that's to do. Oh yeah, by the way, in here, it will also show that between revision 6 and 9, I added a link, as well as I added an attachment. So that's going to be awesome. All right, and by the way, Smart Notes, not Smart Notes, Smart View is available everywhere. So from Smart Docs, from you have it in a lot of different places. Certainly from within a work item, and the backlog and the query and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the new UI stuff that we have done. So of the 3 big things that we're releasing, improved user interface is one of them in all of these areas. To move on, Copilot for DevOps. Now, Copilot for DevOps is our AI implementation of ChatGPT natively built into Azure DevOps. We have been working with the Microsoft teams over the last 4 months on various projects with this. This is our first release of Copilot for DevOps. And you will see we've got a very aggressive timeline of things that we want to do. We're getting a lot of feedback from our clients and also from Microsoft as to what can be done. And so I think this will be a very exciting journey. You will see that this is life-changing. This is career-changing, because this will give you the power to produce much better requirements and test cases and other stuff. Now, Copilot for DevOps can be invoked from FAQ, from query, from backlog, from the work item itself, from any individual work item, from a smart doc, as well as from version and variant management. And so you can invoke it from many places. Now, our solution is built on OpenAI, and there are certain assurances and guarantees both OpenAI has provided, and Microsoft has as well, that any calls we are making to the OpenAI system is not being used for training the AI. So data that you are using will not be used for training. So it's just used to perform the prompt, execute it, get it back, and that's it. Okay. And there's lots of documentation available both on OpenAI and Microsoft site. So you can ask us, we can give you some references that your data is secure using AI. And however, if you do choose that it is not the right time for you to use AI and you don't want to use Copilot, you can always disable. So you can go to your organizational setting, go to Modern Requirements at the bottom left here, click on General, and disable it. And then all the Copilot stuff will be hidden, and nobody can use it in your organization. So that's up to you. If you don't see the Copilot thing, that's because it's turned off. Come back here, turn it on, and you'll see it. Okay. So now you're wondering, show me Copilot. So let's take a look at Copilot. So let's take an example that would be relatively straightforward for all of us to understand. Take a simple system like a CRM, customer relationship management system. A CRM is, I think most people could relate to it, I hope. But this applies to anything and everything. You can imagine something and it will be able to assist you with it. So you call Copilot. Now in Copilot, we will start with elicit, because elicit is one of the most powerful features of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it that since this is my epic, and in the epic, I want it to consider the title and the description of that work item. Now, this CRM it just says CRM. There is no description for that work item right now. So all I am giving him is this text. If I give him more details, it will use that detail to help elicit features, and it will recommend ultimately title and description of it. So let's do that. And here I can say, I want some, I want a lot. Okay. Let's do a lot. So what this is doing now is it's suggesting a bunch of requirements to us. Okay. So of course, part of CRM should be contact management, right? So you need contact management. So we'll select contact management. It'll go get me a description of contact management. Well, I also want lead management. and it'll go get lead management. Or you can select all and it'll get all of the details for all of these work items. The point is, it's really for you to determine what are applicable from this list. Let's take these two and create these features, these two features, and link it to the CRM Epic as child work items. So I'll do that. And it has done that. Okay. So I got contact management and lead management. Now from contact management, let's further drill down and use elicit, but this time I'm going to tell it I want user stories. But the outcome I want are ID, title, and acceptance criteria. Okay, and I'll just get minimal. It's going to give me a handful of these. Okay. So it's found a few. I'm going to just say, let's select them all, and let's see what it comes up with in terms of recommendation. It's going to get the details and the acceptance criteria for each one of them in parallel. That's the advantage of select all, right? And now I can click on it. I can see that's my description. This is my acceptance criteria, description, acceptance criteria, and so on and so forth. Okay. And let's say there's something I don't want. Okay, merge duplicate records. We don't want that. I'll uncheck it, and then I can simply go ahead and create. So this will again create these as the child work items to that feature. And we will end up getting our requirements here. And then let's go to this requirement. And let's say, I actually want to test it. How would I test it? Well, not user story, test case. I'm going to ask you to generate test cases for me. And so one test case is just to make sure that add contact is accessible from the menu. And I can do that. And so on and so forth. Sometimes what happens is that it'll make a call and it's not getting the response fast enough from the OpenAI. And so generally we give a abort function, but if initially that happens, you'll need to just refresh it. And then we can go back into, so we are looking into why that is happening. And so where were we? We were at contact. We'll do this. We'll do elicit. I want test case. And it'll go get the test cases for us. And then we can select any one of these. And it'll go get the description and steps for all my test cases. And these are my test steps it's recommending. This is, it'll check for error validation. So I'm going to select that as well and have it generate the test case for me. The whole point being that this is a recommendation. Of course, Copilot for DevOps doesn't really know your specific needs, but given all the knowledge in the world that is publicly available, this is the best guess the system can make given the information here, which is the title, acceptance criteria, and description. Now we'll go in and create these two test cases and link it to add a new contact. Okay. When I do that, you will see that these two test cases were added. In fact, what you will find interesting is that if I open up the work item that Copilot created, you will see that we've added a tag here. This tag says Copilot4DevOps. Now, what this means is this. This means that this is compliments of Copilot. Now, you'll come back here, you'll review this, you will make modifications, and when you're happy with it, you will delete this tag. And the intent then is that now you own it. Before you do this, Copilot is the creator of this, and you really don't own it. You've accepted it at a high level, but our recommendation is once you review it, delete this tag, so then you know that you end up owning it. Okay. Let's take a look at a couple of other function points. When we go to elicit, no, I don't do elicit anymore. By the way, elicit will work with a bunch of things. If you have test cases, if you have FMEAs, if you have hazard risk, whatever work item types you have, it can help you make recommendations. But the one other really powerful thing is called analyze. So what this does is this is going to take a look at the details, the title, description, acceptance criteria of this work item, and it's going to do the 6C quality check. And this means it's looking at, is it clear, is it concise, is it complete, is it consistent, and so on and so forth. And whenever it finds an opportunity how you might improve it, like for example, it's saying that I should specify the exact location of add a new contact functionality in the menu. Okay. Now, you can take heed, or you can say, nah, that's not necessary. I've specified that elsewhere. You can ignore it. Okay. So it's made a few recommendations. He's suggesting that define the format for things. Okay. So just so that requirements are clear, it's giving it 8.17 out of 10. And so once you write your requirements, run analyze from Copilot on that requirement and let it tell you, and then you can decide how valuable it is. Now, of course, this is quite a well-written requirement, so there isn't many things, but it'll tell you terms are ambiguous or all kinds of other problems we tend to find in requirements. So you'll find this to be a good assistant to your work. And then there's a bunch of other things. You have written a title and you want it to elaborate. It'll give you content that you can use in there. Again, it's just a starting point. It's a sort of a recommendation, but you'll choose and use what you need to. Oh, by the way, one of my favorites is Gherkin. So if you write requirements, say in a user story-like style with description and acceptance criteria, you can actually tell Copilot to convert your requirements into Gherkin format. Now, the Gherkin format is much more readable it's much more readable than the user story format. So it basically defines features, scenario, given, when, then statements. Okay. So just because we are running out of time, we should move on. But anyway, so this is what it looks like. So it says, given this, when this happens, then this should happen. So almost you can consider this as micro stories, much easier to read than a big blob like this, right? Oh yeah, just one last comment on Copilot. The next version of Copilot, which will probably come out in a couple, 3 months, is going to be awesome. We're adding a whole bunch of power to smart docs and version packages and reporting and trace matrix, and you can go to Copilot and tell it to do many interesting stuff. For example, you could go and tell it, tell me my document, is it consistent with ISO 9001 from a security point of view? And it'll read through your document and say, you know what, yeah, no, it's not, or yes, it is. And why is it, and why is it not? It'll give you a full analysis. So it'll be many advanced capabilities that's going to be coming out, and that's going to be part of our Copilot for DevOps Plus. So we'll be having two variations of this. Copilot for DevOps gives you each of our clients today. It'll give you 250,000 tokens of free usage, and for floating license, 750,000 tokens for free usage. And then Copilot Plus will have there'll be a price to it, but the token count is going to be much bigger. But anyways, the details of that will get announced as we get to it. But all of this is currently available to all of our clients, and you can use it. You can see how you like it, and give us your feedback. Tell us what are the use cases you're trying to solve, and can you solve those problems, or do you need assistance in solving those? Okay. All right. So with that, let's go to version and variant management. Now, version and variant management. So version variant management, firstly, is a brand new feature we are releasing in beta. And this is a very ambitious project that we've taken on. And this capability has many use cases. Okay. One of the use cases is from a software perspective. So imagine you're building a software, you've released 1, and then you create a release 2 and a release 3 and so on and so forth. But to get to end of job in release 1, you'll have many versions created like so. And when you go from release 1 to release 2, then release 2 is a variant of release 1. And you lock release 1 down and you create a variant of this, and then you'll do what you need to do in here. And so on and so forth. And sometimes you'll have version 3, you lock it, you'll create release 4, but release 3 may need to be opened up so that you can create patches on it, and then you need the option to propagate changes. We support that as well. And then you create release 5. Okay. And so not only do you have different variants of your software, but many versions within the variant. Okay. In the hardware space, consider you have a base device, and then you lock this down and you say, I'm going to create 2 variants of this, device A and device B. They look the same as the base device, and then you modify this, and it will have its own version life cycle. And then you lock it down and create 2021 version of it, and 22. And so these are all variants. And then from this point, you'll not only create device B 2022, but you might actually create device C 21. Might come out of this, and this might take its own life cycle. Okay, that's the fundamental problem we are trying to solve with version and variant management. Version being sort of the versions of the base device here, variants being as it goes forward, and so on. Okay, so having said all of that, let's see how it actually works. Oh yeah, actually, just before that, there is a couple of use cases. So one is version variant is an advanced use case, advanced baselining. So why is it advanced? What you can do is you can create a package, as I will show you right now, and lock it, but also unlock it if you have the right permissions, and version them. And so it becomes a baseline history in which you can set particular versions to a work item, And so as we go through it, you'll get to understand that this is actually a pretty advanced baseline capability compared to how the baseline module works. My sense is this will end up, for most people, be the right option for doing baselining, but in a very easy and a user-friendly way. The other is variant management, right? So you can create variants of a package of work items, and you can have sub-packages, you can have link packages, you can manage and compare variant versions, and you can also use that as a configurator. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. So let's take a look at that. Okay. So here this is what we create. Oh yeah. So just take this for example. So we didn't create this. We created. So it doesn't matter who created when this was created, but here is a package under version package. So this is a package, and this package has many work items in it. Okay, but how do you create a package? Okay, so the way you create a package is you go to version package and you say I'm going to create a brand new package. And from here, what I will do is I will choose a template. So this template is similar in concept to the Smart Doc template. But let's say I want to do a new package. I'm just going to call it new package 1. And this is the template I want to use. Okay. And then in here, I'll actually search for one work item, and that is 3348. And I will select this work item, and I will just choose one work item. I'm just taking this epic, Modern Requirements Management. That's the name of my epic. I'll just put the epic in there. By the way, you can also, instead of choosing the epic here, you can actually choose date and time for it. Okay, so this will then pick up the right version of that epic. Okay, but what we'll do is, oh, by the way, you can also pick the exact version of that epic you want, or you can do it, select the version based on date and time. But let's just take the current version, and then I can go create. What this will do is this will create a brand new package for us. Now, in creating this package, you will see it actually pulled in a lot of information into this package. Okay. So why did it pull in all this information, and what information did it pull in? So to understand that, let's go to the package template, like the Smart Doc Meta template we used. And what did we use? What we used was this template. And this template says, if I give you an epic, pull in its features, not recursively, just the first feature you run into, and then pull in its user stories and pull in the test cases for it. You can see this looks very much like the Smart Doc Meta template, but this is actually saying pull in all the information automatically given the top level work items. Okay. So if you go here again, under the results tab, you will see it actually pulled in all this information for us automatically. Okay. Now, what you can further do is, let's say I'm at a point where I want to baseline this. I'm going to just lock this. Just click on lock. And it will lock all this information for you. You'll see the actually versions are given here. So this guy is completely locked down now. Okay. And this has actually become your baseline. But let's say you say, no, I'm missing something. There may be a certain work item that was not in the release. So you can simply unlock it. You need to be given permission in the admin area to unlock it. Unlocking still doesn't change the version this is at. However, it allows you to add new work items to this release, or I could go ahead and I could say, remove that work item from this package. So handle multiple alerts simultaneously, I can remove, so that one is gone now, because I didn't want that. Or I can go to this one and I could say, you know what? I don't want version 3 in there. I want version 2 in there. And it will pull in version 2 into this package. So you can see how you can curate the perfect baseline. You can say, this is my release 5, exactly what's going out in the field, right? If you use, so yeah, that's the advanced baselining capability that I was talking about. And of course, now if you're happy and you say, you know what, I'm done with this, let's just lock it. And now nobody can change this unless you unlock it based on the permissions you have. Okay. So when you go here now, you will see many of these options are actually disabled. The other use case you have is for variant management. So let's take a look at this. So I've created I created something called the base laptop. Okay. And there are many interesting use cases of this, but let's say I have a base laptop, which is a laptop is an Epic. Features are all my different components, and I can go on and on, right? And then what I did was I basically locked it. Now, when I locked it, it got certain versions in it. But then what I did was I actually created, actually from here, if you go to the variants tab, I actually created 2 variants from here, super laptop and entry-level laptop. If I go to the super laptop, you will see there are certain shared elements. Okay. So there are different work items, but at different states. So this particular laptop has 512 GB. The base one, the base laptop, doesn't say anything, just say there's storage. But in this one, I've said that there's 512 GB. This is Windows 11, 10 hours battery, i9, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But if I go to the entry level, I have much less memory, slower CPU, lower life of the battery, home version of the OS, and so on and so forth. Now, in between the base, the super, and the entry level, there are a lot of shared components. Okay. Now, what you might want to do is we might go here and we might say from the base, let's create another variant. And this one I'll say Asif customized. Okay, I'm just going to sort of name this to be whatever variant. This is my customized version. And then we can look at that particular variant, and you'll see it looks the same as the base, because the base was just this. Asif variant is identical to it, except for the root now says Asif customized. But now what I can do is I can say, aha, what I really want to do is I want to use a variant here. I am an i7 guy. I'm going to choose i7. Okay. I think using i7 there is enough. But for the OS, I'm going to switch that variant to Windows 11. I do want Windows 11. I don't want the Home Edition, and so on and so forth. So now, because I had configured the system with the appropriate variants for different components, I can just pick and choose between them. Okay. And so this becomes a configurator. So imagine you're implementing your software. If you are a COT software implementer, so let's say you're implementing Dynamics, right? And Dynamics has many different modules and components and ways of doing it. You could create a base system that you're going to implement, lock it, then create a variant of it, and in the variant, go ahead and switch to other components. And once I'm happy with this, I can lock this one as well. And so this becomes locked down. Okay. So folks, that's the basic idea. Obviously, there's many more use cases, and I'm highlighting a couple. But there are many use cases of it. Building the way. Oh, by the way, I must mention before I stop talking about variant management is you got Copilot in variant management. You can initiate. You got Copilot in version package or variant management. You can do reviews on your version packages. You can obviously version them and compare them just like you do with smart docs. You can generate smart reports from here as well. You can also create a trace matrix whose scope is just this version package. Okay. So this version package management has been a very ambitious plan. We have made a lot of progress in a lot of areas with this release. Currently, this release is available in your sandbox, as well as in our eval environments. Over the next couple of weeks, we will decide as to when it goes into production. Right now, we are collecting data. And then hopefully in a couple of weeks' time is when we can start rolling it out into production, but that just depends on the feedback we get in our eval. So that's how we do any release. We release it to a sandbox in our eval environments, collect a lot of data, get the feedback, and then decide when to roll it out into production. But this will also give you time to update your SOPs or get familiar with the systems. Those are some of the changes we have done with update 1 of Modern Requirements 2023. So with that, Shehan, let's talk through
some of the questions.
The questions.
Absolutely, and thank you, Asif. And in light of what you just shared about rolling it into the sandbox and then rolling it out afterwards, we actually have a question here. It says in July, Copilot was supposed to launch in July or early August. What is the new date?
So as you can see, we have rolled it out into our sandbox and eval environments. Mm-hmm. And so normally when we do that, within a couple of weeks, we go live. So what we have is what we are considering to be the final version. So as I said, it's already out in some environments. In the rest, we're hoping in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Asif. The next question is, are XML-based collections still supported? Again, are XML-based collections still supported?
Yes, they are.
Excellent.
It's identical. There's no difference as far as model requirements is concerned.
This next one is an AI question. My understanding, and here's a question. My understanding is that AOAI still gets monitored for harm and abuse by MS. Is that true for this implementation of Copilot to MR?
So we are we are working with Microsoft to disallow that. There's regulatory concerns around it. Of course, it's highly controlled, but we certainly don't want people to be doing evil things. And that's what they're checking for, because AI has become so very powerful, to see if that's a concern. The last thing that I heard from Microsoft was that they're looking at putting a flag against our API account that says do not store any data, even for to see are people trying to build a bomb with it, kind of stuff, so that it can be avoided. Yeah.
Okay. The next question we have is Copilot for DevOps able to work with custom work item types? How to train it with custom fields? So the question again is Copilot for DevOps able to work with custom work item types? And then how to train it with custom fields?
Yeah, so it does work with custom work item types and custom fields. When you're using Copilot, it automatically will detect the new work item types and the new fields, and will use that data, that definition of work item to do what it does. So there's nothing you need to do. Modern Requirements does the needful to be able to provide the data to Copilot.
Excellent. This next question, it goes, we've been using Modern Requirements for about 3 years in an on-premises hosted environment. How will Copilot for DevOps work in an on-premise environment?
The same way. You will just install it, and if in the admin you have enabled it, it'll show up, and you'll be using it. Of course, what you will need to do is you'll have to whitelist, or your IT folks will have to whitelist our call to either Microsoft or OpenAI, but it's identical.
Okay. The next is asking for a demonstration of word import, but let's hold that for the end, I think. Or you can show it right now. So can you show word import?
Yeah. So the word import capability is, I'm just going to see which project should I use. So I won't get much into it. We do have video online on how to do that, but basically you go to the browse page of SmartDoc, you click on word import, you choose the file that you actually would want to import. Let me import this file, and you choose a rule set. Rule set is basically how to interpret the file. And what it does is it tells you, I'm going to consider this to be a title. This is the description, and so on. So you do that, and then you click import. You choose the template. You choose the template you want to import with. This is the meta template, and then you basically go, and it'll do the magic. It'll scan the document based on your template, create the work items, and create a SmartDoc from it.
Thank you. And to that requester, someone from my team will reach out to you to actually give you a one-on-one demonstration of that and talk a little bit about your use case. So you can expect someone from my team to reach out. Next question. How does this work for test-driven development?
So certainly, obviously, even in the test-driven development area, there's a variety of different approaches people take. The one thing that certainly becomes applicable is when you are using Copilot, right? So I showed you with Copilot how you can convert your requirements into Gherkin format. In the Gherkin format, then you can feed it into some tool like Cucumber or something that does the test case generation and so on and so forth. So we do support the transformation of your requirements into Gherkin, which then you can further the cause in test-driven development.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Feel free to put it in the chat. I'll give everyone just a moment. Are there any other questions? Okay. That being said, I would like to thank everybody for joining today. I do want to remind you that for joining today, and if you are not currently a Modern Requirements user, you are qualified for a 30-day free trial. So please feel free to reach out to us directly. Our team will likely reach out to you to see what your thoughts are on this webinar. And maybe I'll turn it over to Darshini for closing thoughts. Darshini?
Thank you everyone for attending. You will have a survey popping up in your inbox shortly, and we will be sending out the recording of the webinar. So look out for it, and thank you everyone for attending again.